So it's not just about, cooking a good meal, but it's as well a combination of the great attitude. The attitude is extremely important. The team player with the rest of the team in the household, the collaboration, the respect, and the friendship, of course, as well, to help each other.
This episode is brought to you by FultonFishMarket.com, the most trusted name in seafood. FultonFishMarket.com is the e-commerce provider for New York's iconic Fulton Fish Market, the largest seafood market in the Western Hemisphere, trusted by top chefs for over 200 years. Fulton Fish Market provides a range of world-class seafood options. FultonFishMarket.com can help you serve a wide range of customers, whether you serve high-profile individuals or just strive for culinary excellence. They deliver directly to your doorstep in all 48 contiguous states, providing a comprehensive selection of the finest seafood, from wild fish to caviar and shellfish. When it comes to seafood, FultonFishMarket.com is our go-to destination and the name we trust. Let's celebrate those who support us and dive into this episode of the Private Chef podcast with a taste of excellence and freshness. Visit www.fultonfishmarket.com to get 15% off your first order. Use code PrivateChef at checkout. Welcome to the Private Chef podcast, serving the 1%. I'm your host, Hannes Hennche. And on our show, we speak to the best chefs, how they honed in on their skills to excel in the industry, and what it takes to work as a private chef for some of the most exclusive clients in the world. Welcome back to the Private Chef podcast. I'm your host, Hannes Hennche. I'm incredibly excited for today's guest, Chef Michele. He's a highly experienced private chef who has catered to the culinary needs of some of Europe's wealthiest families. In our conversation, he'll be sharing his fascinating journey, talking about the interesting dynamics of serving high-profile clients, the hurdles he often encounters, and the creative culinary solution he has come up with to exceed his clients' expectations. Thank you for joining us today, Michele.
Thank you very much to you. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, of course. What brought you to the UK originally?
Well, definitely not the weather and the food. Now the food actually is getting much better. I came here, just to do, the normal 6 months, max 1 year to learn a little bit of English and then go back to Italy. But I was straight away in love with this country, with the people, and with the freedom, of course. Somewhere else, no parents around, no making new friends, and then the challenge really to create something for myself. And England has given me the great opportunity, and he actually is doing, day after day. The private chef, for example, it will be a bit more struggling to do it in Italy. It's not that concept yet, so there are, let's say, no quite high demanding like UK at the moment, or during the summer or long period in south of France or East Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia at the moment, Yeah. So in England at the moment, mainly, of course, in London, I would say a good 90% in London, and then perhaps the rest just around, is where is the core of the a private chef or private household jobs, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are no many British family. Loads are from different parts of the world, which are concentrate themselves, for business-wise or etc. In London, which is one of the greatest city in my opinion. UK at the moment is getting to have the best resource, especially when you got good budget, to spend on food. And of course, the requirement, the expectation of the family. The expectation is extremely high from these people, let's say, especially when they got guests, friends, when they organize their own party. Of course, they want, the beyond the very great product, beyond the great service. So it's not just about, cooking a good meal, but it's as well a combination of the great attitude. The attitude is extremely important. The team player with the rest of the team in the household, the collaboration, the respect, and the friendship, of course, as well, to help each other. Of course, his team is pretty vital, when you are in a private household. Of course, it's not, depends, of course, of the family, sometimes, of course, you found a family which they got really small team, but efficient. And some family, they got a vast of stuff. But can be 2, can be 10. You got to be, extremely polite, extremely helpful, and the yes I can attitude is a big thing. And then, of course, the experience is important as well. Of course, it does help. The experience you do day after day, new knowledge, you enhance new secrets of food. And from that little things, of course, your, let's say, your talent, your profession is getting better and better. The attitude obviously is everywhere, but in a private household is determinant, is something a principal, and the rest of the staff, especially when you are new, they always give a look in that. They always is basically your business card, let's say. Part of that, of course, you have to be another great, hint is the be super flexible. In a private household, the plans can be changed 2-3 times a day. The number of the guests might vary every couple hours, sometimes, even a couple hours or 1 hour before the party of the dinner can be, the numbers can be completely, different.
So how do you prepare for that?
Well, the organization is very important. Always thinking somebody else can come. If you got a party, can I say, of 10 people, try to prepare at least for 13, just in case, somebody else is last minute invited. You are pretty ready, you are secure, and you can deliver a good service. Yes, always, thinking a little bit ahead, thinking a bit forward, just in case there is something new. So you got to be prepared. You got to be ready for changing.
Yeah. So what was it like for you to transition into private? Everything you just mentioned is so crucial to being a successful private chef, but it's something that you kind of learn as you go. What would you say is one of the hardest things that you had to accustom to working in the private space?
Well, sometimes it can be a little bit the same things every day, repetitive. But you have to be able and focus and thinking, you can do every day something new, something different, which means you have to keep learning day after day from the social helps a lot, to see new technique, new chefs, new dishes. You have to adapt as well all the time. So because sometimes it can be really, focused just in 2 people or 3 people, or sometimes even 1 person, but you have to be able, and smart to not be completely to create or propose, offer the same things. You have to be, curious. You have to check what's a new product are available. We have to follow the season. You have to train basically every single day to offer, to propose new things every single day. It's beautiful. It's challenging, of course, because obviously, doing something different every day helps to develop yourself and create a better personality, create yourself as a better chef, and this is something you solo chef need to be done on a daily basis. To be honest, just to be happy in the morning to go there and make something new and offer something new day after day, and is part of experience, is part of the knowledge. Obviously, experience and knowledge you acquire every single day. You cannot say, oh, well, I can do just these 10 dishes. I'm going to rotate these 10 dishes. And no, it does not work like that. You got to offer at least, 4 starters, 4 main course, and 4 dessert every single day, where, the principal, they can choose, they can see the variety. Otherwise, it can be monotone and it can be boring, for them and for yourself.
So at what time do you try to discuss the menu with them? You said you want to offer like 4 different options for them. Is that something that you put out at the beginning of the week or at the beginning of the day, or actually when they sit down at the table?
Well, in my opinion, in my situation, we do the menu for the following 3 days, or sometimes, for the actually all week. And then they choose, of course. Sometimes, obviously, the day we say, well, madam, sir, whatever, today we got this, and this has been chosen. Of course, they might change it. They say, oh, well, I don't fancy that. Can we do something else? The answer is only one. Yes, madam. Yes, sir. Of course, we can make it. Simple. Yeah. But, to have a plan, the plan is important, because you can organize yourself. You can organize and manage, better pantry, the fridges, all that kind of things. So when you organize nice and neat, and you got all the paper, everything wrote down, and you know what you're gonna do, the job is much, fast, it's easy, and it's more comfortable, and it's more, more professional, really. But of course, they can always ask something a little bit different, my tomorrow maybe they say, well, I don't really want chicken, can we swap for something else? Of course. Yes, the menu planning, obviously you do, can I say, a beginning of the week, or when the principal will arrive, you send a proposal menu for the next few days. Where you can, of course, organize the suppliers, you can organize and keep the fridge filled up, and everything nice on order. Obviously, the following day, then you can go already to your suppliers, you can do your grocery, you can do your shopping, and be extremely well prepared, organized for when the principal will arrive. Usually I do, can I say, a menu for the following 2-3 days. Okay, otherwise it's not great to ask and, propose every single day for the principal, because let's not forget, they are busy. Okay, and it can be too much otherwise. So a good, organization, it does help to work a bit more comfortable. And then, of course, the day when the menu has been chosen, the dishes have been chosen, is very important, to have a great conversation with the butler and the rest of the staff to inform them what will be for lunch, what it will be for dinner, for their mise en place and the setup of the table.
Yeah. And I think it's so crucial to line that up well, but stay flexible. And that's the art of being a private chef, is, to be prepared, but also be ready to be flexible. And both kind of needs to be mastered.
I totally agree. Absolutely correct what you say. The chef, especially the chef, would say it must be super, super flexible. Because, as I said before, plans can change. They might have last minute invitation. They might want something different. I say, well, I choose that, but I fancy something else different, because I had good breakfast, for example. I went out with for business lunch, so dinner is going to be a little bit different. So of course you have to do it. You have to have everything sorted, as I said before, in the pantry, in the fridge. And if they want something, you don't have it. You just go to the shop and buy and produce and create everything in the premises. Private chef needs to create and makes every single things, in the premises, in the house, on the villa, on the yacht, wherever it is. In the yacht, it might be a little bit more complicated if they change, because you might not have it and that you don't have the shops next to. But thinking you have to think big. The food is not going to be wasted anyway, because obviously you got to feed the staff, of course. So better to have more than less and give this service. You got to give the service a wow service. You got to do things beyond their expectation. That is really, really, really important. And the collaboration, obviously, during the service time with the butler or the waiters or whatever, is there. A good collaboration, a good chat, and explain how the plates must be plated, must be served, all these kind of things. The collaboration between the front house, let's say, and the back house is determinant for to give as well, a spot on service is what they want. We are there for them. We're not their house because we got nothing else to do. We are there to basically to serve them. There is no question about.
Yeah. Have you had any issues, for example, working with a butler or a team where what you wanted to serve and what the butler or the person in charge of the service maybe encouraged you to serve was differently, and that maybe could lead to a misunderstanding, or where you felt you couldn't express what you actually wanted to serve?
Sure, yes. First, a really good rule is never arguing during the service time. Otherwise, you lose your focus, you lose your time, and it can be a disaster. If, for example, I serve, a chicken in that way, and they say, oh, well, we always did like that because Madame and Sir wants this way, absolutely fine. You just do it. Then, of course, after the service, the following day, when you can have a briefing, we have a meeting, things like that, you explain and say, well, I would like in this way, not because I'm the chef, because I think it looks a little bit pretty, things like that. But sometimes, they have a protocol. Certain things must be done like that. So forget about it. Just do it like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And there are some things where cannot be changed. But during the service or just about before, it's best to say, okay, no problem. Do you like that? They want like that. Perfect. No problem for me. Anyway, does not, change your life completely. Okay. And it's best, to do as basically they want to, or they always been that way, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something which is a really fine line to understand what the principal really wants, and then sometimes the butler or maybe the housekeeper has their own nuance of what they think they want, and it's like bringing everybody on the same page and still deliver an exceptional meal.
Yes,
that's the tricky part,
especially when you start a new job. Of course, when you are the last arrived. Is crucial to listen, whoever is there since, before the new, basically, is, let's say, might be they helping you to not fail. I mean, it's not, if you play it up differently as they want, it's not a massive fail, but they might think so. Okay, maybe the butler would say, oh, well, I just told him, So especially when you arrive in a new household with a new team, try to integrate yourself, try to not to do opposition, but to collaborate. When that is a really good part, to collaborate. you can be the exception, the best in the world as a chef, but still the team needs to collaborate and not, obstacle themselves. And this is good part. And then as well, if you do that, of course you have to, be a bit more firm, you have your ideas, because, if you work since many years, of course, it's something okay. But when you start in new places, of course, is must be easy as well, to say, okay, let's do that. If this is the way, I'm happy to do it. If you don't like it, obviously, just wrap your bags and go, and it can happen sometimes. Say, well, it's not really for me. But before, anyway, you send everything away, you send everything out perfectly as they ask. Basically, if there is any protocol or rules, because in the household there are rules which must be respected. I know rules they are for to be breaks, but in this case you got to take it and respect, because it's not my house, it's not someone else's house, it's their house, and as far as I know, they pay our wages because they want the things in their way as they want. Simple.
Yeah, I think that's you nailed it on this one. It's they pay us, because they want us to do the job in the way they want it.
Yes.
And that's such a crucial and important thing to understand, moving from a restaurant to a private chef position, is you're cooking for the principal and the principal only in that sense. It's not an expression of what you want to do. It's really what they want to happen in their house. And if the protocol is something that's really odd for you, as you said, this might be a consideration for you to look for a different household to work with. And this is something where I feel you have so much experience, like having worked in the private space for such a long time. I'm sure that by now you know what kind of family you would like to work with, what kind of client you would like to work with, and what's kind of the ideal setup for you to thrive. And also, what you mentioned earlier is not only cook good food, but kind of go beyond their expectations on an ongoing basis.
Yes. Especially, as I said before, when they got guests or new friends, a new guest, of course, they want to, to make sure everything is extremely special, because, of course, the friends and the new guests they're going to talk about after, okay? So is determinant, is vital, to be extremely focused in what are you doing. In a restaurant, of course, you have to give the very best, but you don't cook just for 2-3 people. You cook for a vast of a majority of the different people, so it can be a little bit more, is totally different between when you cook in a restaurant, okay, because you cook for different people. In a private household, you're going to cook just for them. And that's why you got to give, as I mentioned before, a different, options. Otherwise, if you give just a single option, it can be really, tiring, really boring, and it's not correct. It's not great, because otherwise, your expectation as a chef, is a little bit low, and you don't have that, excitement. So you got to find excitement every single day and give different options. That means you got a good vast knowledge of different cuisine. As much I would like to cook Italian every day, but of course they got to try, a little bit of Lebanese, try a little bit of more Thai or French cuisine or things like that. You have to be prepared, to offer as well different cuisine. That is something else. A private chef must be ready to do that.
But Italian is clearly the best cuisine in the world, isn't it?
I couldn't disagree more. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. A little bit with gluten, because loads of people, they go in, special in low carb dietary, but obviously, Italian food is not just about the pasta. We got loads things.
Sorry for the interruption, but we gotta share the news with you. Nothing fishy from FultonFishMarket.com. They're delivering world-class seafood from New York City's legendary Fulton Fish Market straight to your door. Their fishmongers have helped countless chefs get what they need when they need it for over 200 years. Trusting FultonFishMarket.com means their experts work tirelessly to make your day run smoothly. Let your cooking skills shine and elevate your dishes with amazing seafood from FultonFishMarket.com.
Also, a chef must adapt of the moment, of the timing we are. And sometimes, of course, you found the people they are strictly vegetarian or strictly vegans. You have to adapt if they got any allergies. You, of course, avoid every single the things they allergic stuff food you completely avoid, of course. And just to make yourself, the job much more easy. And you got to adapt what they want and what they like. It's completely, my totally honesty is that.
Yeah, that's the thing again, it's so much about their likes. And I think this is the toughest part, changing your mind from, just following simple recipes or a menu that is predetermined to really going along with what the clients want. And their guests might come last minute and they haven't expressed their maybe dietary restrictions or something, and then you might have to be again super flexible on the spot because the guest turns out to be vegan and doesn't want your Wagyu steak.
Yeah, it can be. So of course, as you mentioned, you have to be ready. Okay, if something can happen, so you got to be, in your brain. You say, "Oh, I know we got 3 more guests coming," So let's prepare, something just in case, because if we got a menu with the prawns and lobster and the scallops, try to do something else, a little bit more vegetarian, etc., just in case somebody doesn't eat fish or somebody's allergic to prawns, etc. So you cannot say, "Oh, really sorry, this is the menu." Doesn't it can work in a restaurant. In a restaurant you can do it. In a hotel, in the pub you can do that, but in their house, in a private household, I'm afraid you cannot do it. It's like that. This is the life in a private household. Everything can be possible, or everything must be possible. That's it. You cannot say in a restaurant, you can say, "Oh, really sorry, I ran out steak tonight because we were extremely super busy." In a private household, if you got 4 people, you cannot say, "Oh, really sorry, I ran out steak because we've been busy." Busy or what? Do you know what I'm saying? You have to be, extremely professional, extremely good, talented chef to make them happy. Is that special when they got guests?
Yeah. So what was one of the most challenging requests that you got?
Well, usually happened when you got big parties, really. And usually at the moment, now what we're doing, we try to have a list of the guests coming and for what they don't like it. But in the previous household, we had people they couldn't eat, I would say 95% of the menu, despite there was, great good choices. Somebody just eat bresaola, so you don't have a bresaola. But instead of that, you say, "Well, I'm really sorry, I don't have a bresaola. Would you like a beef carpaccio?" It's the same animal, let's say, same breed, but a little bit different. So you try to satisfy anyway their request. No much, really, no much. Sometimes, comments like, somebody say, "Oh, the pizza was very good, but I didn't like it." Okay. Obviously, you don't argue and you say, "Oh, well, what can I do to make it absolutely perfect?" You know what I'm saying? If you like something, but if it's good, but you don't like it, I don't know if you are joking with me or you just because you are like that. But of course, you don't talk back or you don't answer, in a different manner. You just ask, "Well, thanks for the feedback. What can I do? Or how can I make it, next time to satisfy your request?" Simple.
Yeah, I think this is an important tool in the toolbox of a private chef is understand how to communicate and how to ask without crossing the line. And at the same time, it's important to get the feedback. You can also not just be like, okay, walk back into the kitchen and not know how to improve on top of it.
The feedback is important, especially when it's negative is more crucial, more important than when it's positive. Because if it's negative, next time you learn something basically, and next time you can make it better. The line is very important, of course. You don't get personal. You don't get upset. You might be upset with yourself because perhaps you failed or you didn't deliver the standards. Okay, so when you finish the work, you think about it, what you've done, and make sure next time you do it better. But do not never cross the line, or answer a little bit upsetting in upsetting way. You just take it and make it better for the next time. And they understand. They totally understand that. So there will be not a problem for the next time. And you are a great person in this case because you are an open-minded person.
Yeah. What would you say if a request seems like unreasonable? You have so much experience, what's possible from a culinary point of view. But what if something gets like out of hand and, it's very hard for you to actually do what they ask you to do, or impossible rather?
Well, if it's something really quite impossible, if they ask me to, if the dinner, for example, is at 9 o'clock, it sometimes once happened actually. The dinner usually is at 9 o'clock, okay? And they come at 5 o'clock, they ask me to do a pizza night. Of course, you cannot do it because you need your time. You need at least 6 hours, 8 hours for raising the dough.
Yeah.
And basically, you say in professional way, you say, really sorry, but I don't have the time enough to make it a good pizza, great pizza for your standard. It will not be good. So can we do something else instead? That's it. And they explain the reason why you cannot do it. It's just because of the timing wise. You can basically produce something for that time, for that moment.
Yeah. And I think the way you put it is, you immediately say, hey, because the product is not going to be great, it's not going to be as per the standard. Let's consider something else. But here's also why it's not going to be perfect, because pizza dough just has to work its time. It has to work with the yeast. It takes some time. Yeah. So we cannot just shift by 4 hours.
No, and they are happy because obviously I know they're receiving a no. Sometimes when somebody say no, it's not very nice, but there is a reason, a professional, interesting reason behind. It's just because I cannot give you the best you can have, what you really expect. Because if I do these kind of things, you will be completely disappointed, and I don't want to disappoint. Do you know what I'm saying? Of course, if they ask me to do 10 burgers, you know what I'm saying, and your means is you got just 8, so you do just a little bit less to make it 10. But you explain, say, well, the burger, it cannot be, 5 ounce. It can be 3 ounce because obviously the shops are shut and I got just this amount. But you are still more than happy to obviously to manage and to make it. So this is the answers chefs need to give. It's not no, I cannot. Yes, I can, but can be. Do you mind if it's in this way? That is basically end of the day. You got to be as more professional you can and give the best service you can ever give to them.
Yeah, and that's a big mark, and that's a high bar to live up to always take it to another level. And your portfolio, your pictures, your the feedback, really speaks for that. You've been doing that year over year and taking it to another level for your clients.
Yes, the level is you improve your level day after day, and uh, and they notice that. They notice, you working smart and hard, mainly smart, and they notice when you do something just exclusively for them. Okay, it's because you put your passion, you put your talent, you put your soul when you create, when you work. So when you got all these kind of things, uh, is noticeable. They see you caring about them, and it's the same with the rest of the staff. If you have to cook stuff food as well, you got to cook for them as well. There is as well then in the end a little bit of a friendship, to build up.
Yeah. What's an area where you're currently developing a new skill or learning a new kind of cuisine that you're focusing on?
Well, I'm focusing, to be honest, to develop a better vegetarian cuisine. I'm focusing a lot on more vegetarian cuisine, to be honest. No boring, boiled or broccoli or cauliflower. Something with new technique, something a bit more sous vide, something a bit more on a charcoal grill. Different varieties of because obviously in UK you got such amazing suppliers, not just about British products, but worldwide products. So you can use basically everything. Okay, and this is interesting because it's something you don't eat every day. And also, I'm practicing in the low sugar desserts. People that level, let's say, or that kind of people, say the super rich, they tend to eat much more healthy. Is a fact. Okay. And the first things they try to avoid is the quantity of the sugar daily. So of course, you work, with the ideas, research, what you can do it for them. So I'm working, quite intense and on this dessert where there is no high percentage of sugar. And this is sort of a kitchen of food. Let's say it will be more and more requested from people of that this sort of people. A bit much more healthy and nutritious. This is the new key, the new food in for the in private household they will request, special beginner of the summer.
Yeah. I think that's really a trend we've been seeing developing for the last couple of years is, that there's now a different understanding as to what a wealthy life means, and which means being healthy too and enjoy the riches that you have, and that means eating well. And for us, chef means to learn different skills to, cater to that, whether it's low sugar or more plant-based or vegetable-based, but have that understanding of what a nutritionist and healthy whole food cuisine can look like.
Yes, and as I say, it's great, it's good. You adapt to learn something else as well, to learn something else, and to make you to put yourself under the pressure just because even to serve a tender stem, you can make it a little bit, more interesting. They're looking for something day after day new, something much more interesting than just a parboil broccoli or whatever, carrots or something like that. There are loads new ingredients coming in these days, which can easily be used, from tahini. Tahini is everywhere now in these days. You of course, you avoid completely in my food, in my kitchen, let's say, I don't use too much butter or double cream or things like that. This is something, in these days must be try to avoid, and you can use, extra virgin olive oil instead of the butter. When you do cakes, you can put, sunflower oil, much more, lighting and better. It gives the softness to the dough, to the cake, really. So it is something you got to say constantly, day after day, update yourself.
Yeah.
And the light nutrition food, I would say everybody started to ask it, and it will be more demanding for the next few years, really, because it helps, for your body, for your mind. And as I say before, of course, before the summer, when all these people around the yacht or around Saint-Tropez or Mallorca, they want to go in good shape.
Yeah, everybody wants to have the beach buddy.
Yes.
So what would you say is the one lesson for an up-and-coming chef who is coming out of a restaurant and wants to go private? What does he have to focus on?
Right. At the beginning, the adrenaline is much less. You will miss, the printer machine. You will miss the shouting. You will miss the pressure. That you will miss a lot. The moment where, between 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., where all the restaurant is extremely packed, you run, you sweat. So in private household, you're not going to sweat like the restaurant, and which is good. You have to be humble. You go there thinking you're cooking just for that people, but that people, they are your boss. They pay your bills. Okay, so it's important to have a really good experience in the restaurants, hotels and things, because when the things, last minute change, you got to be ready, because you got your experience to cook for 100 people, for 150 people, or 50 people. So in the private household is much, much, much less, but the quality and the standard is completely higher. And obviously, in a restaurant, you got the commis, which he peel the potatoes for you. You got CDP, clean up all the fridges, etc. In a private household, you basically do every single things, from the grocery to the petit four in the end. Okay, it's not just a lunch and dinner. You got to be ready with for snacks. You got to be done. You got to do all the cakes for afternoons, for breakfast. And of course, petit four, you got to do your biscuits. It's not just a cook 1, 2, 3 meals, lunch or dinner. You got to do basically every single things. And sometimes, of course, you have to help the butler or the house manager to move things. Of course, if you got, if you don't have nothing to do. If the principal arrives, with the taxi, and you got to jump in there to grab the luggage. Doesn't matter if you got white jacket. I know you are a chef, but you are part as well of the household. Only there you are solo chef, and you basically got to do loads of things. But with organization, with focusing, be humble, you can do it. And the most important things, always listen, and that's it. Listen, secrets, as here we do like that, because listen the opinions, listen the request. It's not complicated. It's absolutely super easy if you got a mature, great attitude. Without that, no private household, no rest. You don't go anywhere anyway. But in the private household, you have to be respectful, indiscreet, very discreet person, okay? No gossiping, small mind discuss gossiping, like Denzel Washington used to say. Great minds discuss idea. That's it.
Well, Chef Michele, thank you so much for making the time. Where can
My
people
pleasure.
connect with you? Social media handle, or where can people find you, see your cuisine?
Well, Instagram, Chef Mirable, LinkedIn, obviously, I'm most of the time in there. Mainly LinkedIn as a Chef Mirable, or Instagram, Chef Mirable got a page. Of course, it's just food-wise, some recipes, some dishes are doing. A couple of videos, how do I plate up the the dishes, yes, they can give a look in there. They can easily comment. I accept bad comments as well. Bad comments I accept as well. They are very welcome.
Yeah, and we'll also make sure to add your social media handles in the show notes. So thank you so much for your experience and sharing the wisdom of 2 decades in the kitchen with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much indeed. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks a lot.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, FultonFishMarket.com, the best seafood in the nation, trusted by the best chefs in the world. Aside from offering premium seafood, they also make life easier for you by delivering all these outstanding products right to your doorstep. Visit the official website www.fultonfishmarket.com and explore the incredible selection of seafood and let your clients experience quality that has captivated palates for generations. Use code PRIVATECHEF at checkout to get 15% of your first order. When it comes to seafood, FultonFishMarket.com is the name we trust. Thank you for joining us at the Private Chef podcast. If you know any highly skilled chefs that want to take their life to the next level, make sure to share this podcast with them. And if you enjoyed this episode, click subscribe and check out our upcoming episodes. Thank you for listening.